Hey, what's going on? So, I didn't do an update video yesterday, but I posted one or two things about my diet, but basically, so yesterday and today, I'm doing a ketogenic diet. I'm basically following the technical keto designation because most people, when they think keto, they just think like, as much protein and fat as you want or whatever, but high protein. And technically keto is actually low to moderate protein and high fat, zero carbs obviously, or as close to zero as you can get. But you want actually around an 80 to 20 ratio for fat to protein. So if I calculate like how much protein I need to maintain lean mass at a minimum by basically multiplying my lean mass by 0.7 and then figure the rest of the calories for fat, that kind of gets me where I need to be. And actually, if I do the 80-20 rule on that, it kind of gets me right at there. I'd say 0.7 as a minimum. I know technically there's not a lot of data to support going over 0.7 per pound of lean mass, even though the general consensus is 1 pound of protein per pound of body weight, right? And some people will go higher than that, but there's really not a lot of solid data to support going over 0.7, and some people say in that 0.7 is actually lean mass, so it's actually much lower than what you think. I like to err on the side of caution, so I like to go a little higher. So right now I'm getting about 1 pound per gram, 1 gram per pound of lean mass while doing this, while trying to stay as close as I can to the 80-20 rule. Anyway, if you've never done keto, man, for one thing, okay, I just want to throw out a disclaimer that I understand that doing a ketogenic diet for 2 days isn't really going to put you in full fat burning mode. They say it actually can take months to become fully fat adapted, but you can go into ketosis within a couple days, once your glycogen stores are completely depleted, which I would say they probably are by now. I was going to get into that, but I'll talk about, okay, if you've never done, basically I'm doing this I'm rambling. I have a lot of different thoughts that I want to get out. But if you've never done a ketogenic diet, man, it's hard. It sounds nice being able to eat as much, protein and fat as you want. But actually doing ketogenic where you're doing really high fat and keeping the protein on the lower side, it's just weird because you're eating a lot of just mayonnaise and shit, or some people drink oils. I mean, it's not natural. They're the only circumstance in nature that I can think of where people might have lived on a ketogenic diet is, they say the Inuits, for example, would live on whale blubber when food was scarce. I can see that. But in general, the food sources, whether we want to talk about plants or animals, okay, I'm not getting into the whole vegan carnivore debate. I'm whatever, I have my opinions, but that's not what this is about. Yeah, you aren't gonna see any food sources that are just mostly fat and like almost nothing else, you know. I mean, you might get like more fat than protein, but not really in this ratio. So it just feels unnatural because you kind of have to purposely add extra fat that I feel like you really don't need. But I'm trying to do it the technical way, okay? And I'm sick of it already. I'm in day 2. I had breakfast. I'm gonna have lunch and dinner, and then tomorrow will be different, but we'll get into that tomorrow. So anyway, okay, I'll go over my diet for the last, yesterday and today so far. So for breakfast yesterday, I had 4 hard-boiled eggs with shredded cheese, sour cream, and hot sauce, and that was awesome. For lunch, I had some grilled chicken, also with sour cream, shredded cheese, and hot sauce. Also awesome. Okay, yum yum. I got no problem with that. I could eat that. For dinner, I had Spam and mayonnaise. Yeah, and a lot of mayonnaise too. And it was avocado mayonnaise because I'm trying to at least, try to get healthier food sources. I do try to avoid seed oils. I know that whole thing is a little contentious, but I think, there is a little something to it. So it's avocado oil based mayonnaise, and it's got about half the calories of regular mayonnaise, a little less. And I also did have a little red pepper Gouda soup, just like maybe about 3 ounces. So that gave me about maybe 5 or 10 grams of carbs. And the only reason I had that is because my wife was nice enough to bring that home for me. And, I couldn't just say, oh, no, I'm not going to eat that, because she went to the trouble. So I did have a little bit of that. So, but yeah, that's what I had yesterday. And, yesterday everything was good. I obviously changed my meal timing around the workouts because when I was doing the all carbs, I was having my first meal and I was having it, very high sugar, dense carbohydrates right before my workout. Okay, because I wanted that extra energy. But I waited to eat until after my workouts with the keto because, obviously you don't want to be bogged down with a lot of fat in your stomach right before a workout. So I had breakfast after rather than before my workout. And this morning, well, since it's Saturday and I didn't have to go into work today, I go to the gym a little later. So I did, I had a pound of bacon, well, minus 1 slice that I gave to my wife, and then like 3 tablespoons of that avocado mayo. And that's pretty good. And I'm probably going to have another pound of bacon for lunch. For dinner, I haven't completely decided yet. I might try to finish off that can of Spam and just call it good. We'll see. Maybe try to have a couple eggs or something. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I'm not going to miss this. Now, as far as workouts, okay. So I just got out of the gym. I'm actually sitting in the parking lot of the gym filming this video right now. And man, I was just totally drained. Like I felt like I didn't have anything in me, I felt like I could not hit my regular weights. I was doing my reps because my sons didn't go with me, so I'm using a little lighter weight anyway and just going higher reps, but just kind of having a general idea of what I'm capable of. I just felt like I didn't have it in me, and I didn't have energy, like the whole time. It was just a struggle to go from one exercise to the other. So I actually, let's see, I cut it a little short, I mean, I wanted to do like a big workout today, hit everything, you know. I mean, I could have done a little more for shoulders and some bicep work, but I was just freaking dead after I did high pulls or high rows. It's like this, okay? So it's like a combination of a pull-up and a row. It's like halfway in between, like a 45-degree angle, so it kind of hits both angles a little bit. Anyway, then I did incline bench, and then I did machine lateral raises, and then I did lat prayers, and then I did low flies, hits the upper chest, and then I did machine triceps extensions, and I thought about doing biceps after that, but I was like, no, man, I'm done. So yeah, I think the lack of energy is catching up with me. You know, I had way more energy on my carb days, so that is definitely one plus for the high carbs. What was I gonna say? You know, I know they say, like, yeah, it takes a while to adapt to the keto, you know, and I get that, but I guess the way I'm looking at it is like, if you have to adapt to a diet, is that really the optimal diet for humans? Because here's the thing, like, I don't remember exactly what it was, but if it was like lactose or something, but they did a study where they put like these bacteria into a petri dish, right? And they took away their normal food source, whatever that was, and I don't remember if they put lactose in there, and they were lactose intolerant, and so they couldn't live off lactose, but they ended up evolving to live off of lactose, and so most of them died out, but the ones that survived thrived, and their offspring will now live off lactose. So yeah, we can evolve or adapt to pretty much any diet. That doesn't mean it's optimal. I mean, that's my opinion there, okay? And one other thing I want to say is, you know, carnivores, I hear this a lot. Vegetables have phytochemicals, you know, fruits and vegetables, plants have phytochemicals, that phytotoxins, you know, as a defense mechanism because they don't want to be eaten by animals. Well, last I checked, animals have this defense mechanism too, called fighting to stay alive, because they don't want to be eaten either. So, I mean, if we're going to make that argument, you know, let's actually, you know, look at real science, you know, regardless of what you want to say about mainstream science and how it can be bought. Okay, that's fine, but I see manipulation on both sides. So I'm going to look at what data is available, and I'm also going to take into consideration testimonies from actual people who have done these diets. And you hear great things about vegan diets, about carnivore diets, you know, about keto, about high carb, low fat, and everything else, right? So, but let's actually stick to the data, you know, rather than, you know, making suppositions. I understand maybe you can prove, yeah, they do have these phytochemicals for this reason, but if you're going to use that as a piece of logic toward an argument, you know, yeah, let's look at the actual effect it has on us, right? I understand also that some people have intolerances to certain plants, but that can be said for animal products as well, you know. So anyway, I don't want to make this whole video about that, but this has been my experience so far. Oh, also, yesterday, yeah, I had to go to the bathroom a lot. stomach didn't feel too great. So, and you can make the argument, well, that's your body detoxing from all the carbs you ingested the 3 days before that. Or you could say, well, it's because of the dairy, but I'd actually be more inclined to believe it was because of the dairy. And maybe if I, was gonna do keto again and try to do it in a more healthy way, I'd try to implement some non-dairy products and obviously, reduce the bacon and cut out the spam. I'm not, right now, I'm just doing this on a strict macro basis, and I'm trying to pick foods that I will actually like to make the diet tolerable. But if I progress, and continue to test this out, I'm going to tweak a lot of things, right? But right now, this is kind of the initial phase. And we'll decide after this week, what we want to do from there. Tomorrow, again, will be different. So the first 3 days, carb only. Next 2 days, keto only, no carb, right? Now, as far as body weight, okay, I'm down 2 pounds from what I was yesterday morning when I started the keto. And I can't say whether that is from the keto or the carbs or the combination, or whether my body is just readjusting, because I did get down to 155 the week before that and the week before that as my low, right? So I started this week at 160 after I think I gotten up to like 161, because that was after a heavy week of eating. And then I started with a light day of eating before I went into this 7-day rotation, because I'm trying to, keep the data as unconfounded as possible, however you want to say it. But I think what I might do is go another week at least, and that way I'll have a baseline to go off of, because I'm looking at results, okay, to see what I notice. And also, okay, I didn't go into this before, but this is a big point, and I'll go into this some more. But I think that you have people talking bad about carbs, and you have people talking bad about fat. I don't think either one is bad. I think they both can serve a valuable purpose in our diets, and they both do serve a purpose, and you can argue, yeah, but the body doesn't need carbs because it breaks down everything into sugar. So even if you're consuming only fat and protein, your body will still make its own carbs. So carbs are the only nutrient that you don't really need, the only macro. I understand that point, but if you're ingesting straight carbs, then you're getting them the quickest way possible, okay? So it's like the quickest energy, and you don't see as many high-performing athletes on keto as you do on a high-carb meal, just saying. And there's a lot of money in that. I think, there's something to that. But anyway, so my theory is that it's when you mix the carbs and fats together that you start encountering these problems, because they both are digested through different mechanisms, right? So, and if you look at food sources that we have in nature, they're generally only protein and fat or carbs, right? It's very rare that you see carbs and fat together, right? Like one exception would be milk. And milk, who drinks milk in nature? Babies drink milk, okay? And it makes them fat, which is good because they're trying to grow. They need that extra fat, right? But adults don't, unless they're storing for the winter or whatever. We're trying to get rid of the fat, right? Okay, and also nuts, would be another exception. Nuts do have some carbs, and maybe there are a couple others, but in general, and nuts, if you're eating a lot of nuts, you're going to gain weight, even like if you're doing a paleo diet, nuts are not restricted on a paleo diet, but they do say if you're not losing weight, cut down on the nuts. That's like one of the first things they say, so yeah, I mean, so let's like kind of look at this from, a natural perspective. I think the closer we can get to the way our bodies were intended to work, the more optimally we're going to perform. So that was kind of the premise for this experiment that I wanted to try, and I have a couple other concepts that I'm going to integrate into this, and you'll see, one of them tomorrow. But I don't want to make this video too long, so I'll go ahead and end it there, and I will probably do another update video tomorrow. All right, take care.